So these are the rotors that I'm putting on. EBC precision brake rotors in the rear, just upgraded version from one, and the fronts are going to be 400 series, the slightly reverse and forward crossed. And then I will be running yellow stuff EBC, which is pretty much performance brand. It's the third stage that they got. It has a little extra brake dust more than normal, so you'd probably have to clean your rims more often. But like I said here before, I'm gonna have you pop out this and this one right here, then this plastic clip comes off, as you can see here. Then the pads, as you're seeing there, it comes through the little metal piece that goes through, and you could push it apart, therefore getting it off. And then here's the hole here and hole here. Then you use each one of these screws more or less like so. Take it and you thread it in. Just change hands real quick. So you put it in. There we go, and you just continue tightening it. Then it'll pop it away from the rotor. The only thing I have to do right now is currently I have the emergency brake on, so you got to loosen the emergency brake. Then what I suggest doing is using brake cleaner and clean this while you have it, while you're doing it. And then when you put the rim back on, use anti-seize right where it makes a mark, and then just make sure it doesn't go to the outer edge over here. And then you're going to want to transfer this dust boot from here to your new rear rotors, and my rear rotors are in here. So yeah, they're both the same direction. There's one left and one rear. It'll say in the box, and I'll show you when I pull it out to put it on. Just an added bonus information, from year, I think it is, depending on the model you got, you're gonna have two of these E-clips that are gonna hold the little metal rod that goes through the piston, as you see this rod more or less right there where my finger is pointing, and the one that's over there. So you won't be able to get the rod out unless you pull the E-clip out. It'll hold it into place. So just take that out with needle nose pliers, and you'll be good to go to take a small, Phillips and hit it through there and also there. As you can see, here's one of the clips. There's the other clip. If you can see right there, that's where the hole it goes into. That's it goes in this goes in from the back. You slide this in from the back, you just tap it with it on the back, and it goes through. Then once you see it, you put that on, and when you put it on, you're going to want to have this in first. So you would put this in over the top, and then each side, you see how it's kind of got the lip there. You're going to want, I could show you here with my finger, you're going to want that below that, because the little rod's going to go across it. So you can basically see where it's going to hold it down, and it does it on the other side where it's got the little lip. And more or less that's how it would work. Basically you see it now, you see the pistons are pushed on both sides. So then you take the cap off your reservoir in the front, and then you can push that out both directions. Just to give you an idea what the EBC pads look like, here's the like I said, yellow stuff. Make sure when you go to put them on, you flip it over, and when you put it in the vehicle, you're going to want to make sure you put this little cover, because this is what the piston pushes on the black piece here. You don't want it to just push straight on the metal. You want to kind of, the pad here is kind of like a distribution pad to make sure it goes on correctly, and the heat doesn't as much transfer from the metal to this to the piston. Okay, and then like I said, here's the old pads. I took off the cover that was on the back there, because it normally sits kind of like so, and whatnot. So once I put it on, right now you can see it. I pushed it apart, both pistons. I used to pull out the pad, or just use channel locks, and I used this to push the pad back and forth apart to get the piston apart, so it made it easier, more or less. I just kept going back and forth, kind of like going from more or less, I show you here, kind of went from like the edge to the middle to there, or went from side to side, then the middle to push it over, then went down to the bottom and pushed it. But like I said, you gotta remove the cap on the reservoir. And to show you where the bolt is, come in here, you can see the upper bolt is right here, and then look through there, zoom in there, and the bottom bolt is right here. Both are 17 millimeter. Get a better view. I'll move it there for you. So that bolt right there is 17 millimeter. Like I said, go tight to loose real quick, because you don't want it to strip out, because they tend to strip out into these aluminum calipers sometimes. You got to be very careful, and like I said, you want to put some I highly suggest putting, once you put the bolts back in, put some anti-seize lubricant, whatever you can find in the local your parts store. Just purchase it. Doesn't have to be the most expensive one on the shelf. It's just as long as it's anti-seize lubricant, you'll be good to go. So as you can see here, I've removed it. Like I said, I took the two things there, put the screws in, pretty much had to run them all the way down, and don't be afraid when it pops, it's really loud. And then just make sure you continually run them, both of them, all the way down until basically the screw stops. You're going to need one basically about this exact length. Don't worry about the washers that I have here. I thought I was going to try and have to take them off, but there was enough room that it popped it off way more than enough. And as you can see here, I can also show you closer, this is where I took it off there, and also there. Like I said, I went tight and loose. Basically, I used this with the shorty 17 millimeter socket, not the long one. And then I just took one of these and slightly hit it back and forth each direction, so you can finally hear it kind of start to crank and loosen away. So I just kept doing it, and it loosened itself. As you can see here, mine are directional, so like that one's labeled R for right. And then I'll take this out real quick. You gotta also take brake cleaner and clean them, because there's a slight oil residue you don't want. And here's my left, so I'm on the left side and I'll put it on. But like I said, before you do it, just take some brake cleaner, spray a light amount, and then take a rag and wipe the brake dust, which is that metal tin thing, and clean it off and clean the center. And then take like more abrasive than that, I just use that to clean the caliper, a nice soft bristle brush. And then go about starting to reinstall, and I will continue on as I go back to installing it. And like on the pads here, this wasn't here, there was a little sticker based, and I just stuck it on all four of them for the rear, because that it was just a clip on the basic stock stuff. So this is the more upgraded version, so it sticks on there. Okay, so here's the dust shield. I've now cleaned it off. So you basically just take the dust shield, pop it in there, push it with your finger, goes in, you're good to go. I put some anti-seize there so it's easier for the rotor to pop off, and I'll try my best to hold it here and do this one-handed. Okay, so more or less you want to take the rotor, second. Set it on here with me. Alright, so I set it on there very easily and whatnot, so it's there. So basically just push it back on there, and while you're putting the caliper on there, if you want to make your life easier so the caliper just doesn't move, just run down the nut real quick so it's not moving around. And while you're doing this, if you either have a bungee cord, so just put two of these on real quick, run it down. So I just had a thick wire, just to hold the caliper so it's not being held by the brake line, so you don't want to put too much strain on it. So I just twisted a regular thick gauge 14 millimeter wire through it and to hold it in place, because I forgot to bring my bungee cord. And like I said, just take two of these, run them down real quick. Like I said, I put the anti-seize in there so the caliper will come off easier, because this is the first time I'm doing it since ownership of the vehicle. I just hadn't done it. But yeah, that'll hold it in place. Now I can go about sliding the caliper back over. I'll put the ani-seeze on both of these 17 millimeters right here that I got. I'll put it on it a little bit, so that'll be good to go. And then I'll start putting it back together, and I'll show you the additional step-by-step steps that you need to take. Okay, specifications recommend, if you look in here, you can see this bolt that I'm pointing at and the one down at the bottom. It says specifications to 80, but I was torquing and pulling with that 80, and it seemed like excessive amount of needing to be at, so I reduced it on mine to here to 60 foot-pounds and did it, and that was even like tight, so it's not coming off. I'm maybe if I was racing, I guess I'd really try to go to 80, or I'd double check with everyone online, but I don't think just dropping it a whole 20 is really going to be that super outrageous. It's just mounting, and also, like I said, I put the ani-seeze on the screw and made sure that it would come off, and like I said, I had these both on here, and now they're both in there, and now I'll finish this off, put this clip on, and that'll be good to go. Okay, so there is one whole side done. I got the clip back on, the two pads, the pin through with let me zoom in there, you can see the clip there, E-clip, and then the also other E-clip right there. All you have to do to kind of get through is you'll have to raise this one, then probably push in the center, so when you're sliding the little metal bar through, and then get it to line up. As you can see, it's poking through there a little bit, and then you can switch over the other side, and you don't need your piece of wire anymore. Done with that, and then I'll throw the other wheel on, take the nuts off accordingly, and then it goes to 90 foot-pounds for the wheel back onto the tire, and I'll show you how to do the fronts next after I finish the other rear. Okay, as you can see, I've pushed both of the pistons in, and I'll pull this one out so you can see. The outside one is the flat one. The one with the wear tab goes on the inside. So, and if they don't realistically slide in, just take your quick grinder, grind the edges, because sometimes with the paint they don't come perfect when they machine them. And so I just grinded it down real quick, put the surface and the pad surface on facing the rotor on the inside. Grab your other one with your tab surface, pop it in. Should pretty much. Alright, well, it's not going in as tight like I was saying. I'm gonna have to grind this one just a little bit to fit better, so it's not falling in like the other one just did. I made sure it fell in better. Yeah, it's a little tight. I'll grind it, pop it back in, and put the clip in through. And when you put it through, just to save yourself hassle, line the hole so it's facing upright, so you could put your E-clips in, your clips in accordingly real quick, and it makes it a lot easier than trying to spin the rod when it's already in and there's pressure on it. Okay, so here's the front brakes, the DBA 400 series. They are the ones in the photo straight ahead. The cross showed both directions. What you're required to do once you take them out of the package, take a rag and clean off the oil that comes with them. I'll try to see if I can hold the phone here for a second. Brief moment, open it. Okay, so as I open it here, you'll notice there's kind of just, you can see there's marks from me just hitting it there. There's just a slight film on it. So you just take yourself, grab a clean one, grab yourself a nice shop towel, and just basically go over it and clean it right off and whatnot. You don't need to use, doesn't require use to brake cleaner at all to clean it off. Those were the other rear rotors. They were different. You had to use brake cleaner, but these DBAs not required to use that. So you take it off and you install it. You can actually buy all of these and put them all 4 around, but they're a little more expensive. And considering you're using 60% stopping power in the front, it's just better just to use, you know, put these up front and then have like what I installed back here was the EBC. They're just one direction, and that's only 40% stopping power on the 15 to 21 STI. All right, I will continue after I show you parts of the. Okay, just wanted to show you what's required to take off the front. If you notice there's a bolter there. I've taken this off to replace this front rotor because it basically bit the dust. So if you can see also there, let's see, move it. There's also that one. On the rear, there's 17 millimeter to take off the screws, but in the front, they're just a little bit different. And there's the one on the top. They're 19 millimeter. So like I said, you basically want to go back and forth on them, tighten, loosen, tighten, loosen, tighten, loosen. And once it breaks free, then you take it off. Then before you basically reinstall it on the rotor, you're gonna want to use ani-seeze to get it off. I'll be painting this down the road, but this is brand new. I had to replace it because it was hanging up, and I also switched out the stock pistons for aftermarket pistons. So it's slightly upgraded. I just haven't gone completely around the car for it. Okay, so I just repeated the process. Behind here and here, there's 2 screw holes. Like I said, I took these 2 bolts and ran them in. Rotor pops out, replaced a new one. Repeated the process over here. Took these along the line, these 2 metal bars out, each one. As you can see here, there's body clips. Took the clips out that you have to take out. 15 to 2017 Brembo STIs. They have these clips. 18 to 21, they don't have these clips. So then once you take these pins out, just be careful you don't have something real close to this that's gonna pop right off. So then once you go back in place, you like I said, you take these and you put them in and you get it through this first side so it's just sticking out. And then make sure on the back portion here, like you see how I have the line facing up. So when it's back here, just make sure it's facing up so it's just easier to put it together real faster instead of trying to have to push down on this to release the pressure so that you can get it to spin. So then you do the same thing, put this side in over here, pops out there as you see. This is a brand new caliper. I gotta paint it still at a point. I just don't feel like doing it yet. This is EBC yellow eye installed. So basically what I did was to be able to put the pad in, I took this and went on each side of the rotor, but I didn't just use it. I put a pad around it, so when you're touching the piston, you don't scrape or ding the piston up. So you push off the old rotor. That while the old rotor's in there, you push the pistons on the inside to get them out. Take the cap off the brake reservoir on the top of the car. So like I have it off right now. There's a little bit over after pushing those up, so I'll have to take a little bit out with a turkey baster and put it in a bottle. And I'll end up going back and forth. But that's it for this one for now. Pretty much that's how you do the fronts. And then you take these back off and throw the wheel back on and ready to go. And the trick to getting this one's not as easy to get down to the bottom. I just did them to 60 foot-pounds. It says 80, but I just did 60. The trick to getting them and tightening them is you can use this with a swivel head, and this will just clear. As you see here, it's very close. It'll just clear this by like about a millimeter or less, and you can get in there and you can get your 60 foot-pounds and it's not going to come off. I mean, or you could just do it how old-fashioned way and go as tight as you could get it, but that was how I did it. All right, that should be about to do it. And just to show you what my stuff looked like. So yeah, my other caliper was hanging up. As you could see, it was rubbing, and these pads are pretty much shot. These are just stock pads, nothing special about them. That was replaced previous owner. So yeah, it was hanging up and it was no good. And here's the end result of the rotor. As you can see there, it's seen the war, and you can see kind of even had like lines in it, so it had kind of excess heat built up into it that was happening. And on the inside you could tell it was rusty. I used to live up in a northern state, upper New York area, so I now don't live there, so I don't have to worry about rust and all that no more. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole install for 2015 to 2021 STI, the Subaru. All right, have a good day, everyone. Thanks. Bye.